found a trapdoor under my carpet by CR_Jones. I've been living in my own house for about 3 weeks now. I was not planning on being a homeowner this soon in my life, but when this house went up for sale, it was an absolute steal, so I decided to buy it. In an attempt to make the house feel more like my own, I decided to renovate some parts of the building, starting with the floor. I thought it best to start in the basement of the house and began to rip up the ugly green carpet that the previous homeowner had left. I was nearly done getting rid of the carpet and was pulling the last bit off, covering off the ground, when I uncovered the trapdoor. Underneath the green carpet was a plain cement floor, and in the center of the room there was a thick slab cut into the concrete. The handle was flush with the rest of the floor, so there was no way of knowing that it was under the carpet. The owner never mentioned the trapdoor to me, and I began to wonder if he even knew that it existed. I grabbed the handle of the concrete slab and lifted up with all my might. The heavy door did not open easily, but once it was off, I saw a ladder leading down that disappeared into the darkness below. I went through the boxes that I packed for the move and found the big industrial flashlight that I keep for emergencies. I shined the light down the hole and saw that the bottom was about 100 feet below me and seemed to open up into a large room. I was hesitant at first, not wanting to end up trapped inside of a room below my basement, but I wasn't one to pass up a good adventure. So I decided to descend the ladder cautiously, making sure that I didn't fall the 100 feet to my death. As I got closer to the bottom of the hole, the air became colder and started to develop a musky scent to it, like the pungent smell of mildew. The ladder didn't reach the whole way to the bottom, leaving about a 4-foot gap between the floor and its last rung. So I jumped down onto the floor below, where I saw just how big the room was. It was enormous. My industrial flashlight didn't even reach the far end of the wall. I could see the walls to the left and right of me, but there was a chasm of darkness ahead of where the ladder was. The walls down there looked damp and were covered in what I expected to be mold, giving the air a very unique odor that left a bad taste in my mouth. I couldn't tell how far the room stretched in front of me, but I didn't want to go exploring it just yet. I didn't think anybody would believe what I found beneath my basement, so I took out my phone and started to record what I was seeing. I was holding the phone with my right hand and was gripping the flashlight with the other. I looked up the ladder, reassuring myself that the trapdoor was still open, and began to walk forward. I kept checking over my shoulder every couple seconds impulsively and saw the slightly lit up ladder get further and further away from me as I moved deeper into the room. I kept advancing into the unknown, 10 feet, then 20, 50, 100, 200. Then I stopped. I hadn't reached the other end of the room yet, but I saw that there was a large hallway that cut perpendicularly through the room I was in, leaving 2 big openings on the wall to either side of me. I was still about 50 feet from the 2 openings, but I didn't want to advance any closer. I was done exploring for the day. Ever since I entered the room, I felt like I wasn't alone, like I was being watched. But now, standing in front of those 2 entrances, I knew for certain that there was something else down there with me. I was still holding my phone in my right hand and went to stop the video that I was recording when I heard a loud crash behind me. The sudden noise startled me and fumbled my phone around, nearly dropping it. I turned around to find that the light shining down from the ladder had disappeared. The trapdoor must have fallen close. I turned back to the two entrances and almost screamed. Something was peeking its head out from behind the entrance on the left wall. Whatever it was, I could tell that it wasn't him. It had a small bald head with long pointy ears and two gigantic bulging eyes that stuck out from its head, with small black pupils surrounded by its bright white corneas. It dug its head back into the entrance as quick as rabbit. I just stood there, paralyzed with fear, shining the light at the entrance in the wall, still holding my phone, recording everything. Then all at once, it slowly began to emerge from behind the wall. Its skin was a sickly pink color, and it walked in such an unnatural way, jerking its body about in weird, spastic movements. It was tall, very tall, but its limbs were so skinny. They were just bone covered in loose, flabby skin. It didn't have a mouth, but I could hear its breathing, heavy and slow. I took a step backwards, away from the approaching creature, and that's when it charged me. Running with a speed that I didn't think it was capable of, moving around with its unnatural jerky movements, I threw my phone at it distinctively and then bolted in the other direction. I could hear the creature right behind me as I made my way toward the ladder. The flashlight was jumping all over the place, making it hard for me to see where I was going, but I could just make out the approaching ladder. I jumped out and started climbing as quickly as I could. I let go of the flashlight. It was slowing me down. I heard it crack as it hit the floor below me, causing everything to go black. I kept climbing, not daring to look down at the creature on my tail. I was going so fast that I didn't notice the quickly advancing cement slab. The top of my head hit the bottom of the trapdoor, nearly knocking myself out. I put my shoulder against the cold concrete and pushed up, causing the door to swing open. The light from my basement blinded me for a second as I climbed out of the hole, slamming the trapdoor closed behind me. I moved away from the slab in the floor, rubbing the top of my head as I did so. I could hear the creature below the floor still trying to reach the top of the ladder. I got up and ran out of the basement, not stopping until I got to my neighbor's house. I started slamming on their doors, banging them to let me in and to call the cops. The police showed up shortly after, along with an ambulance for my now bleeding head. The police investigated my basement and reported that they found the trapdoor open, even though I told them that I had closed it. They also told me that they didn't find a room at the bottom of the ladder. It was just a 100-foot drop that led to nowhere. The paramedic diagnosed me with a pretty severe concussion, which is what they used to explain my bizarre story, but I know what I saw. I know that there was a room below the door. I know that I saw that creature down there with me, and I know that he